Ciao, tutti. Welcome to Ciao Academy, where your study abroad dreams can be a reality. In today's video, I have been joined by my friend Ngosa Bwalya, who's a student at the University of Padova. Ngosa, say hi to everyone.
Ciao, tutti. I'm Ngosa from the University of Padova, and I'm here to share a bit about my experience and how your study abroad dreams can come true.
Ngosa, can you give us a brief summary about your background, like before coming to Italy, prior to coming to Italy, what you studied, and so on?
Yeah, of course. So obviously my story begins in Zambia. I live in Kabul with my family, and I studied in Mansa for a while for my high school. When I was done, I was privileged to have the scholarship to go to Algeria by the Ministry of Education, so the government. And so I went to Algeria and I studied electrical engineering. And towards the end of my studies, I came across this opportunity to continue my studies, to further them here in Italy. So through some online searches, because I was really determined to further my studies at a European university. And so I kept on searching in my last year. And I kept on searching until eventually I came across a friend of mine sent me a link to a university called the University of Padua. And I applied for the degree in energy and nuclear engineering, and the rest is history.
Okay. So are you on a scholarship, or like how did you just apply and then come? Like most people are unable to fulfill their study abroad dream because of financial constraints. So has that been the case for you, like, or not?
Well, to the first question, obviously I am on a scholarship called the Maechi Scholarship. So it is a scholarship that's given by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation of Italy, where they bring students who they want to have this cultural exchange. That is the whole goal of the scholarship. And so they finance the studies of students coming from other countries to come and study here in Italy. So this is something that I also had to apply for. But when it comes to the means and funds, of course, I come from an average home back home. And so mostly during my time in Algeria, I saved up and I worked a little bit in order to save up some money for me to pursue my dream in Europe. I won't lie, it was very expensive and difficult in the beginning, but I had the will to do so, and so I saved up as much as I could until finally I could get through all the expenses that I needed. But the scholarship, there are sort of scholarships that are offered to students coming from underprivileged backgrounds, and so there's a lot that you can take advantage of regardless of your financial situation.
Guys, actually Ngosa is one of the recipients of the Maechi Scholarship, the same scholarship that I had. We were the awardees, because exactly. It's so competitive. They only awarded 2 people, so it was myself and Ngosa. So Ngosa, what are your interests? Like what is your motivation in life to even pursue energy and nuclear engineering?
Oh, that's a big question. I have always been interested in science, in physics, in mathematics. This has been like an academic interest of mine from way back in high school. And so when I got into engineering, I started to learn a bit more about engineering because I had that interest. I studied electrical engineering, like I said. Mostly, I would say in the beginning, it was mostly just out of interest for the subject. But when I came to do my master's degree program in energy and nuclear engineering, I found a different motivation, which was I want my life to be able to provide solutions for people coming from backgrounds without access to energy. Because this is such a big issue. Without energy, you cannot have a proper education system, you can have proper healthcare. And I know that there is many people who are living in these kinds of conditions. And so for me, what gives me the most satisfaction is to know that right now I'm gaining the knowledge and the education that's going to make me able to make a positive impact on the society. And so, for example, one of my professional goals would be to work with rural electrification using renewable energy. Now there's a lot of talk about climate change and using clean energy solutions.
Yeah.
And so this is what I'm trying to work most in. I focus most on solar energy and how this can be used to power houses in rural areas that are very far away from the national grid.
Yeah.
Because this over only 60% of Zambian citizens have got access to electricity. So there's a huge problem there, and this is where I want to fix myself. This is what motivates me. I think that this is what will give me the most satisfaction. So yeah, this has been like a primary interest for me.
So aside from school, the saying that all work and no play makes Ngosa a dull boy. So like aside from schoolwork, like how do you get the balance? Because I'm sure there are other interests that you have that you're working on.
Of course.
Could you tell us about those?
Yeah, definitely. So I always like to say that in another world, if I could choose again, I would be a musician, because I love music. I'm passionate about it. I play guitar, I play piano, I sing, and so I do have a YouTube page and a Facebook page, a YouTube channel and a Facebook page where I post some of it's like my creative outlet whenever I'm not working on school stuff. And so this is a strong interest of mine. It's called Ngosa Music and Travel. So I make music videos and I make travel videos. And this is something that has helped me a lot. And so I think it's important, like you said, to strike this balance between work, school, and your own personal development, your own creative path.
Yeah.
It is really important to strike this balance, because then you could become stressed, you could become depressed, you could lose the initial motivation you had if you constantly bombard yourself with school all the time.
Yeah.
So it's important to have all these things. So for me, I have time that's set apart to work on my videos, work on my other interests, reading, and I've got time set apart for school, and I try to maintain. It's hard, of course,
yes,
as a student. I'm sure you can attest. Yeah, it's difficult, but it's necessary. It's necessary. So, yeah.
And can you just give us a brief summary of your experience as an international student here in Italy, the good, the bad,
the good and the bad.
Yeah, the advantages of studying in Italy, the opportunities that have been presented to you, and just the basics of studying in Italy. What are the advantages and disadvantages?
Well, I think there's been more good. To be honest and to be fair, I would say that there's been more good to me being able to study here. So, for example, the environment itself is very multicultural, very international. So you have the opportunity to meet not only Italian people, but people from all over the world. For example, my university, University of Padova, has got a large population of international students from America, from Europe, around Europe, from Africa, from everywhere. And so you do get the chance to meet a lot of people, and there's a certain kind of exposure and growth that happens to you when you meet people from different cultures, when you work with them, right? And so this has been one big thing. Also, there are much more opportunities in terms of work. There's a high demand, a high market for people doing engineering courses, I would say.
Yes.
And the good thing is that you're not limited to being in Italy alone. So you can apply for work, you can live, you can easily visit many other countries around Europe. The education system is pretty good. An interesting fact is that for those science nerds, Galileo was a great scientist in the, I think, 1600s, if I'm not mistaken, was a professor at my university. Basically the one who discovered things to do with gravity and other stuff. Really famous guy. So this was something. But there's been more good than bad. If you talk about bad, of course it's always difficult integrating in the new culture. The language, you don't really understand at the beginning. But these are things that are just general for whenever you relocate to a new place, and the opportunities, the advantages are way far more than the bad, in my experience.
Okay, but you speak the Italian, so you will.
Sì, si parla italiano.
Piano. You have mentioned about job opportunities for students, like professional job opportunities, but there are also part-time job opportunities that students can do so that they can at least have some spare change, right?
Yeah, of course.
And how are those?
Well, there's many avenues through which you can do that. So number one, there's collaborations with the universities. Okay, so you can be a tutor, for example.
Yes.
You can work in the libraries. You can do small jobs around the university. So there's that. But then you can also find part-time jobs outside in, for example, in restaurants, in offices as a secretary, or small jobs like this that you can work part-time in order to finance yourself. Because again, it's not easy, especially if you don't have a scholarship or if your scholarship doesn't give you as much. So there are many opportunities for that, especially during the summer. Also during the summer, there's tourists coming in, there's a lot of business, so there's a lot of demand for people to work all these jobs. And then as well as the professional jobs themselves that you can professors are more than willing to help you, connect you to internships, to do different kinds of research work that you could be remunerated for. So
lastly, Ngosa, what advice would you give to an average youth who has a study abroad dream, or just advice to youths in general that feel like they're too average for certain opportunities? I don't know if that's even correct, but sometimes you become your situation, so it's hard to see past that. So like, what advice can you give to our youths in Zambia or around the world regarding what they can achieve and also the possible study abroad dream?
The first thing is just pursue it. Just get rid of the fear of failure, the fear to try. You can only fail if you don't try. I've met many people who, they just tried something. They were not the best students. They were not the smartest students, but they just tried, and they were motivated to do so. And they put in the time that is required to learn about the process, to invest time and energy and sometimes money to, go through the admission process, have enough drive to go through the processes, to go to the offices until you finally achieve what you want to achieve. So the world is quickly becoming a global village now, and it is very important for you to take up opportunities like this, especially to study abroad. And it's a good thing that you're doing here at Chamba Academy, because you are showing people how they can do that step by step. I've seen some videos here where you teach them how to go through the admission process and get a scholarship. And so these are things that you'd want to invest time to learn about, in order to get through the nitty-gritties that will allow you to achieve your goal and your purpose. So that inner determination, it has to come from inside of you. It has to be an internal motivation to achieve what you want to achieve, regardless of what happens. No one is too average. All of us have got something, I believe, that we can offer to the world, that only you, something unique that only you can offer to the world. And it's up to you to cultivate that, to develop that, and to seek opportunities that bring that out, So just go for it. Go for it. That would be my advice.
Yeah, guys, go for it.
Go for it.
Thank you so much, Ngosa, for coming and sharing your experience with the community.
It's been amazing.
Guys, thank you so much for taking time to watch this video. Ciao.
Ciao.